In this commander deck type, I'll be going for my Memnarch deck. The deck is kind of in the middle. It's not too expensive, not too cheap. There's obviously expensive cards in there, but overall, I wouldn't. It's pretty easy to build. Um, Memnarch is a really powerful commander. Someone at my local card store who used to play Memnarch, I've seen him choose one people, but he's got like Mishra's Workshop in there, like Time Twister. But Memnarch is still a powerful commander without those like types of cards. He can basically take over the game pretty quickly if you can make a ton of mana. So for blue, for double blue and a colorless, you can make a target permanent an artifact in addition to its other types. And for three colorless and a blue, you can gain control of target artifact. So you can basically keep stealing stuff over and over again if you have a lot of mana. You can do this pretty quickly too. The deck runs 3 non-basics in it. Academy Ruins. You can basically bring back artifacts. So put them on top of your library. Put that there. Ancient Tomb. Helps you wrap into stuff fast. And Rogue's Passage makes things unblockable. I'm going to play 37 land, 34 islands, 3 non-basics. You can play less land, more land, it's really preference. It's up to you. Now under the counter spells, we play a decent amount of counters. In a combo deck, like probably like Arkham, I wouldn't play as many counters. I play like Force of Will, stuff like that. But in this deck, it's kind of more control-y, so I would play more counters. Spell Pierce, counter things like you can counter like Soul Ring if you go first. Since he's Divining Top, just stuff like that. Mana Leak. Mana Leak's probably better 1v1, but still good multiplayer. Negate, protects Memnarch basically. Counterspell. Cancel. Stoic Rebutal. It's basically the same thing as Counterspell if you have Metalcraft up. It's Force of Will. You don't need it, but it's really good. I mean, it's the best blue card in the game, in my opinion. Basically a free counterspell, or late game if you have 5 mana, you could pay it. So it's up to you. Now onto the instant, not counterspells. Brainstorm, draw 3 cards and put you back on top of your library. Echoing Truth, you can bounce non-land permanents. Redirect, basically if they try to target you with something, you can reverse it on them or your creatures, stuff like that. Turnabout, choose target artifact, creature, or land. Tap all untap permanents of the chosen type target player controls, or untap all tapped permanents that type that player controls. So it's pretty good. Blue Sun Zenith is pretty good. You can draw a bunch of cards end of turn too, so it's nice. Now into the sorceries. Ponder. You look at the top 3 cards of your library, and you can arrange them in any order, then draw a card, and you can choose to shuffle 2, then draw, so it's up to you. It's a really good card. Fabricate. Search for an artifact, reveal it, put it into your hand. Acquire. Search target opponent's library for an artifact card and put that card into play under your control. Tap player shuffles his or her library. It's a very good card, similar to Bribery. If I had Bribery, I'd play it in my deck too. Just you can search out some big artifact like Blightsteel or something, depending on your opponent, and put it into play for free. Or for 5 mana. Devastation Tide. It's really annoying to play against. Brings everything back to its owner's hands, and you can miracle it for 2 instead of 5 mana. Dissipation Field. I haven't seen many people play it, but I really like it. Whenever a permanent deals damage to you, return it to its owner's hand. So say someone like Alt's Koth and all their mountains can deal damage to you. If they do that, then they'll go back to their hand, so that's pretty nice. Mind Control. Steal your opponent's stuff. Conjured Currency. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may exchange conjured currency and target permanent you neither own nor control, so for a turn or 2, you can get something really big. Spirit Away. Steal stuff and it gets buffed and flying. Now into the artifacts. Soul Ring. Big commander staple, it's really good. You can do a lot of things turn 1. Mana Vault's really nice too. You can make 3 mana, but you have to pay 4 mana during your upkeep if you want it to untap. And if you don't pay to untap it and it stays tapped, it deals the damage to you. Still a really good card. Voltaic, it's really good with a lot of cards in our deck. 'cause you can untap target artifact. You can, with like Mana Vault, you could tap it, have 3 floating, tap that, untap this instead of having to pay 4. So that's nice. Expedition Map just gets you land early. Elixir of Mortality brings back your counter spells from your graveyard, stuff like that. Lightning Grease protects Memnarch, gives them Shroud and Haste. With Shroud, you can't equip like equipment to him because he can't be targeted by anything, but it's still really nice. Howling Mine, it draws everybody cards, but maybe helping your opponent too, but it takes like some of the pressure off you because with Memnarch you'll probably get targeted. Mind Stone, ramp, and draws cards, or draws a card because you have to sacrifice it. Liquid Metal Coating goes good with Memnarch because it's like his first ability, so you tap it, then you can steal something, so that's nice. Proteus Death, for 2 colorless and a blue, you can tap it and put target creature on the bottom of its owner's library. That creature's controller reveals cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals a creature card. That player puts the card into play and the rest on the bottom of his or her library in any order. Play this ability only at the time you can play a sorcery, so you can use it on your creatures after you're done, like Treasure or Trinket Mage. After they do their search ability, you can do that to them and get like Blade Steel or something. Extra Planar Lands. When you play it, you basically exile a land, so we'd exile an island, and all islands are double basically for everybody, so. Coalition Relic basically makes mana. Darksteel Ingot makes mana. Disc basically blows up almost everything, creatures, enchantments, artifacts. So basically a board sweeper. Unwinding Clock is nice because it untaps Mana Vault basically on everyone's turn, so you can make a lot of mana. Mindlock Orb is pretty annoying. It could hurt you a little bit with Trinket and Treasure Mage and stuff like that, but some decks rely to search, and if you stop them, it hurts them a lot. Clock of Omens is nice. You can tap unneeded artifacts to untap things like Lux Cannon. Lux Cannon, put a charge on Lux Cannon, remove 3 charges, and tap it, and destroy target permanent, so that's always nice. Gilded Lotus makes 3 mana of any color. Cage Sun creatures you control of the chosen color get +1/+1. We choose blue. And basically doubles your mana. Mycos and Flatus is really important too. It's good with Memnarch if everything's an artifact. You can steal everything. You don't have to use the first ability. You can use the second one to steal everything. It's also good with Master of Ethereum because Master of Ethereum's power and toughness are equal to the number of artifacts you control, and if everything is an artifact, you do a lot of damage. Put it right there. Staff of Nin draws you extra cards and you can ping things. Knowledge Pool is really nice. Actually, it's more annoying than nice. When you play it, it's probably gonna get destroyed pretty quickly. But with Teferi or Teferi, however you pronounce it, you can block the game with him and Knowledge Pool. So it's really annoying to play against, but it's kind of fun to play. Spine of Vishaw. You can destroy things when it enters and leaves. Darksteel Forge makes all your artifacts indestructible. Now some equipment. This really isn't. It's nice to have. I mean, there's probably better things out there in Commander, but it's really good. Whenever you deal combat damage whenever you do combat damage, put 2 charge counters on it. You can when you remove a counter, you can give target creature +2/+2, or actually equipped creature gets +2/+2 till end of turn, or target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn, or you gain 2 life. So kill things, buff things, and gain life. Sword of Body and Mind. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from green and blue. Whenever an equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may put a 2/2 wolf onto the battlefield and they mail 10. So that's pretty nice. If I had more swords, I'd probably run them too. On the non-artifact creatures, Trinket Mage, you can search for, when you play it, search for an artifact card 1 or less. So you search for Mana Vault, Soul Ring, depending on what you need. You can also get Sensei's Dividing Top if you have it. Treasure Mage, you search for an artifact 6 or greater, so you can get Cage Sun, you can get Mycosynth, up to you. Clone, can either clone your own things, your own artifacts, or Treasure Mage or Trinket Mage to search. It's up to you. or your opponent's thing, so it's nice. Frost Titan, just a big guy. Whenever something targets him, it gets automatically countered unless they pay 2. Whenever he enters the battlefield or attacks, you can tap target permanent and it doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step, so that's pretty nice. Now onto the artifact creatures. Palladium Mirror, add 2 mana to your mana pool, it's always nice. Shimmer Mirror, you can cast artifacts cards as though they had flash. Master of Ethereum, his power and toughness are equal to the number of artifacts you control, and other artifact creatures you control get +1/+1. So this guy, they work well. If everything's an artifact, he's like a 20/20 say, and you just attack for a lot. Solemn, when he enters, you get to put a basic land onto the battlefield tapped, and when he leaves, you may draw a card. Helps you get mana fast, so you can ramp into bigger things. Phyrexian Metamorph, you can have him copy things, artifacts, creatures, it's nice. Master Transmuter, you can pay a blue and tap it. Return an artifact you control to its owner's hand. You may put an artifact card from your hand into play. So you can return like a cheap artifact, like maybe Soul Ring, and then play like a Blightsteel. Kuldotha, Forge Master. Sacrifice 3 artifacts and search your library for an artifact card and put it onto the battlefield. Kind of like a tinker on a creature, just less overpowered. Darksteel Juggernaut, kind of like Master of Ethereum. Darksteel Juggernaut's power toughness are equal to the number of artifacts you control. Darksteel Juggernaut is indestructible on attacks each turn, so with Myco, since it's really big, they either trump block or take like 20 damage. Steel Hellkite. Steel Hellkite gets for 2 mana gets +1/+0 until end of turn, and for X, destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost of X, whose controller was dealt damage. You have to deal damage to them that turn, and you can only activate it once per turn to use the second ability. Blightsteel, Trample, Infect, Indestructible, in 11/11. If you be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal him and shuffle him into your library. You can tutor him with Kuldotha Forge Master. You can play him with Master Transmuter. Sack 3 things, or return something to your hand. Play him for cheap. Or you can ramp into him early with like Cage Sun or Extra Planar Lens. And the last thing is That Betrays. Annihilator 2, 12 mana. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent, put that card onto the battlefield under your control. And with Annihilator, whenever this creature attacks, defending player sacrifices 2 permanents. So that's the deck. It's not too expensive, like I said, but you can make it more expensive for budget, I guess you can say. Completely up to you. This is more of a fun deck than competitive. It's more fun, I would say, multiplayer. Just you get because if there's more people in the game, you'll get targeted less. So, yeah, I used the deck in multiplayer more often, but that's basically it. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll be making more Commander videos and more deck techs, stuff like that soon. So stay tuned for that, and see you guys later. Bye.